Welcome to another episode of Healing Through Love. Each week, we share ideas, experiences, and resources to increase the awareness of domestic and family violence and to empower survivors to grow and thrive. We talk with experts who share their advice, or with people who have experienced abuse, no matter where they are on their journey. This is all about healing through love. And now, here are your hosts, Charlene Lynch and Rose Davidson.
The Healing Through Love podcast with Charlene Lynch and Rose Davidson. Alfredo Zapata's unique Connect Mind and Body program delves deep into the connection between physical and mental well-being in episode 77.
Just becoming a personal trainer gave me the sense of being able to help someone to become healthier, which later I started connecting the mind and the body as a main key for my program. And everything else started just falling apart when I started kind of feeling empty again. But the exercise started giving me a sense of rerouting, like a GPS. Then I got married, a few years later, and then there was some little challenge. Even though I was a nutritionist, I was personal trainer, I was working with all these different people from different backgrounds, I feel like, wow, I got married. We had the first child. And at age of 3, he got diagnosed with autism.
The Healing Through Love podcast with Charlene Lynch and Rose Davidson.
Hello and welcome to the Healing Through Love podcast. I'm your host, Charlene Lynch from charlenelynch.com. Healing Through Love is here to help victims and survivors of domestic and family violence find their way back to living a more fulfilling and meaningful life. We interview expert survivors who have shared their personal stories and offer advice to those who've experienced abuse, no matter where they are on their healing journey. As well as the Healing Through Love podcast, we hold annual Pamper Days here in Adelaide, South Australia, for survivors of domestic and family violence, where local businesses come together and pay it forward to provide their services and resources for a day to give our survivors a much needed, much deserved day of indulgence. Think day spa on steroids. And I'm so proud to announce that as of May this year, we've gone global and are now running these beautiful Pamper Days all over the globe, where we're teaching other practitioners how to coordinate and run these beautiful days. So if this resonates with you and you'd like to be a practitioner at one of our days, or you know people who could actually attend as special guests of the day, or you'd like to sponsor, please reach out to Healing Through Love. We would love to have a conversation with you. Every week we have amazing guests, and today it is no different. We have an amazing guest with us here today. I'd love to introduce to you our very special guest. It is a true and well-being. He's a true and well-being expert on the show today. It's Alfredo, who brings over 30 years experience as a nutritionist, a fitness coach, a speaker, and an author. Hailing from Mexico, Alfredo's holistic approach to healing and performance has impacted executives in major companies all around the world, in Europe, in Americas, and also in the USA. So major companies like Fox and Platinum Studios, as well as athletes and entrepreneurs across the world. Alfredo's unique Connect Mind Body program delves into the deep connection between the physical and the mental well-being. He's also co-authored best-selling books on personal development in both English and Spanish, with a mission to inspire individuals to unlock their full potential. Join us today and discover the secrets of holistic well-being with the inspirational Alfredo. Hello and welcome.
Hello. Good to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very excited.
It is a pleasure to have you here. Now, the man that we see before us today is not the beginning of your journey. This started quite some time ago. And before we pressed play, we were having some beautiful conversations. in as to your own personal journey and how you got to where you are today. Can you share that with me today?
Yeah, sure. I'll be happy to do that. Yeah, well, I'm originally from Mexico City. I'm the only child from a single mom growing up in the 60s. So it wasn't quite usual, but it was something that kind of gave me the sense of how do I get connected within society, because I felt kind of awkward, especially at school and the kids always looking for the dad. And at the family gatherings, there was always the dad, the mom, and 3, 4 kids. And I'm the only one with my mom or with somebody there. So I started kind of discovering a way for me to feel secure. So exercise became part of my shield. And then I started going into different routes of sports to feel accepted, to feel kind of like protected by something, which was the motion of my body. I was like 5 years old when I started running on the city streets on my neighborhood, and I started feeling excited. I didn't know what it was, but later became part of my entity of studying nutrition. I've been more concerned about how people think and how the health than they put into their bodies. Because most of the time we're disconnected from the mind, and only the body is the one that is doing things without connection. So when we get sick, it's when we take care of the body. But when we're not, we just living our lives and doing things. And anyway, crossing to United States, it was very much a new avenue for me to discover who I was, because I was introverted. I didn't know any word of English, and just becoming a personal trainer gave me the sense of being able to help someone to become healthier, which later I started connecting the mind and the body as a main key for my program. And everything else started just falling apart when I started kind of feeling empty again. But the exercise started giving me a sense of rerouting, like a GPS. Then I got married, a few years later, and then there was some little challenge. Even though I was a nutritionist, I was personal trainer, I was working with all these different people from different backgrounds, I feel like, wow, I got married. We had the first child. And at age of 3, he got diagnosed with autism. Just imagine a biracial marriage. My wife Chinese, I'm Mexican, and our son was diagnosed with autism. It wasn't anything to be ashamed, but it was kind of like, what is God prepare us for us to learn, to become better for him? So we start going to different support groups, but we start finding the people who have a special needs kids. We're kind of trying to take him to the doctor to get fixed, put him some medication, put in something, but not like really embracing that to become a better person. So I told my wife, that's great, they are giving us something to guide us. But because our faith gave us the sense of, well, we're equipped to be able to provide for this kid, so we better become our best version. So my program, Connecting Mind and Body, gave me the sense of ownership and saying, I need to be my best so my son can emulate, and also being able to develop the way that he is now. He's 22. He lives with me right now. And I see how adamant he is kind of exercising on his own. And I feel so proud because I'm not pushing him, but he sees my example. And I think people, when they see someone doing something, then they can imitate, they can feel secure. And I think for adults and for especially high-level entrepreneurs, sometimes they just work too much on accolades and improving their bank account and the notoriety, but the health gets on the side. And only when there is something that bothers them is when they say, I need to lose weight. I need to take some medicine because I cannot sleep. I need to do my chiseling with the doctor because I don't look good. But then we forgot right here. Then if the mind is not stable, it doesn't matter how much you do it from the outside. Like a custom paint, new wheels for your car, the engine, which is the mind, is gonna be wearing out. And later on, it's gonna be probably too late. So what I help people is to discover that early so they can start building their health from the inside out, which is part of my program.
I love that. I've got to ask you on a personal level, just do you feel that well, let me rephrase it. What do you feel is the reason for the increase in the diagnosis of autism in children?
Well, I think there are several factors. I was, doing some research back then, especially the person that evaluated our son. It was someone very renowned in LA, and she gave us just a very simple answer. And she said, well, there is a variety of situations, so we cannot just pinpoint and say, well, it was because the vaccination, it's because your family history, it's because the food you eat, it's because the chemicals in the environment. And all she said is, look for the best way that your son can develop, but don't get overwhelmed with everything that is outside. And outside meaning even some research, it can be too profound in finding a specific chromosomes and different things. But again, we detach from being our best version, because I think our kids, especially the kids with special needs, they're going to emulate how we present ourselves, how our energy is generated to them. We can tell them all we want, but if they feel that we are afraid, or we are angry, we're impatient, they're going to regress. And that's how my experience has been with my son. My son has been healthy. He doesn't take any medications. He's been here in Mexico. So because at home I was speaking in English and Spanish, he was able to process that. And even he went to school here in Mexico and he did great. And I think part of it is how the intention that we have as a parents can help them to become their best version with their abilities.
It's true about considering it to be able different rather than disabled. I myself am an ably different human being, and I like to lean in now. Many of my, some would see them as disabilities, are now my super strengths. So I feel that if we shift the way that we see these abilities, then we can lean into a different frequency on this planet. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that beautiful story. And wow, it is so true that when we connect the mind and the body together, we can really create a program that works. Now, you've got this beautiful program. It's called Connect Body and Mind Program. Can you tell us a little bit more about the program?
Yeah, actually, it's connecting mind and body. And some people, along the way, because I've been doing it for about 30 years, they said, Alfredo, that's great. You connecting mind and body. But what about the spirit? And I said, well, because if your mind is not stable, if it's not set in the stability mind, you're not going to even imagine that there's a spirit inside of you. So if you're going with the basics, which is, right here on earth, you can understand that once you feel better. So the way it works, my program is based on 3 points. The first one is helping you to understand how your posture causes stress. And when you have a postural stress, you don't feel with good mood. Even though you might be the brilliant and the more wealthy people, if you have a achy neck, you're gonna feel like, oh, it's bothering me, and then your mood starts changing. You go to acupuncturist, you put a cream, you go to massage, and it might go away temporarily, and it come back. So right there, you don't feel that great. Or maybe your back, or you did a lot of CrossFit, or you went dancing or something, and your knees, or you have a flat feet, and you start having like a little stuff on your heel, or the ladies, they use heels. on the calves and the ankles, they start getting kind of tense. So you're not in a great mood. So if I show you how your body looks right now, and I tell you how you should be positioning your body, you're gonna look better and you're gonna feel better right in a couple of minutes without plastic surgery. So that is gonna help you to enhance your blood flow. So your mood is gonna start changing because you're feeling good and you're looking good.
It's so true.
What you look, because that's like a third party proof. Don't listen what I said, look how you look. And then you're gonna start getting a different habit on your mind. It became unconscious. And then you start acting differently. You feel differently. And then you said, I'm gonna eat healthy. Because when you don't feel good, you can look on Google all you want or YouTube how to eat healthy. But if you're in a bad mood, you're not gonna choose good food. You're gonna choose chocolate, you're gonna choose drink, you're gonna have a hamburger or whatever, and that is not gonna help you. It's gonna make you maybe satisfied for a moment, but then it's gonna give you diarrhea or blow your stomach, and then you end up with the same cycle. So you have a bad posture, you eat bad, and then you said, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go and exercise to sweat like a horse, to get totally wasted, so I can feel then I kind of make up for whatever I did. But then it's gonna come back again in the morning because you're gonna feel tired, you're gonna feel sluggish, you're gonna feel achy again, maybe for the workout. And then you're gonna say, I'm gonna drink a coffee, I'm gonna eat something to give me some pleasure, and it never ends. So I help you to better your posture so you can eat better. And I give you the right exercise based on your needs. So the exercise is gonna be the detonator to make the change, to look good because you already feel good. And then you can start making a better lifestyle and not just temporarily. That's how it works, the program.
I love it. It's fantastic. You can feel it when you walk into the room and your posture's amazing. People respond to you differently. And then because they're responding to you differently, you respond differently as well. Just something as simple as posture. And if you walk in with bad posture, you get that reconfirming that you're not okay by them asking, are you okay? Or they treat you like you're not happy or not okay. And then it sort of becomes a self-perpetuating a situation. I love it. It's so true. Thank you, Alfredo. Yes, our posture does impact not just ourselves and our own mental health, but it is a reflection for how others are going to treat you as well. It's so true. I love it. So I started dancing as a very young girl. So I really understood about posture because we had to stand up straight in ballet classes. Otherwise, it was the little wooden cane. And so it was at the time not a pleasant experience. But in hindsight, even through my deepest depressions, I still managed to keep good posture. So people treated me differently. They didn't even know I was having an episode. So, wow, it's so true. I love that. Thank you, Alfredo. Now, as a nutritionist, you obviously have some great insights as to the things that we need to be looking for to help us. And many of our listeners will be somewhere, sometimes a little on the sad side because of the things that they're going through. And as you said, when we're feeling a little bit that way inclined, we reach for food that's going to have high sugars and high fats because it sort of makes us feel good. But if you got some hints and techniques from a nutritional perspective that can help us feel better and, maintain that healthy eating cycle?
Yeah, well, one of the points that I make when people eat, besides feeling maybe a little bit down or maybe too upset or something like that, to have a little moment before you eat and maybe drink a little bit of water. No any other liquid that might alter your mood, but some water because, our bodies need hydration, first of all. And then when you start eating your food, make sure you don't drink and eat at the same time. Make sure you eat your food and try to chew it with some time. I know some people, they're like in the rush and they say, I don't have time. I only have 10 minutes and I need to run. and I'm just inhaling like a vacuum all the food, but there is an enzyme in the mouth that it will help to pre-digest the food. So if you chew it slowly, it will help you to pre-digest better the food that goes into your blender, into your stomach, and it will have a better enzymes to work on it. Because otherwise, if you just inhale it, it goes almost right the same way you chew it, and then it goes down there, and it's gonna have a hard time, especially if you have a nervous breakdown, or if you have some emotion going on. Your microbiome, which is the good bacteria on your body that works, to digest and absorb, is gonna be in trouble because it's gonna have all these different enzymes and reactions from the mind, and it's not gonna be absorbed correctly. So even if you eat organic food, and if you're in a bad mood and then you eat so fast, you're not gonna digest it as well, and then it's gonna go out. Or maybe it's not gonna go out, it's gonna stay there for a while, and it's gonna start causing you problems. So chewing slow, drinking a little bit of water before, and then after you can drink some, it will help you to improve, because you start making a discipline for your body. Because when we're in the emotion, rush, we don't have discipline. We just wanna throw stuff, get mad with someone or with ourselves, and we don't know how to be calm.
I love that. Slow down and enjoy the moment. And as a woman of faith, for me, praying over my food, I know that research shows now that molecularly changes the frequency of the food just by prayer over food. So that's good. And also then you've got that moment of mindfulness, that you are stopping before you're eating, and that gives you that opportunity then, as you say. Now, what's the magic number for how many you should chew? Is it 52 times? Like, how many times should you chew your food?
Well, I think there is no a particular number, but I will say they chew slowly within 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. I mean, you can have a good portion of meal, maybe without 15, 20 minutes, maybe if it is something more elaborated. But I think chewing slow without putting like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will help you to have a better understanding of taking your time. And I know, and some people, they say, well, Alfredo, you tell me to eat this and this and this, but I have only 30 minutes to eat, and I have to run to my station, or I have to run, get the kids, or I don't have all the food to carry with me. And I said, well, we make different choices. You cannot chew the food. You can have some liquid nutrients, which it could be a shake, right? It could be a little snack with some raisins, some cranberries with some nuts to keep your energy level stable for at least an hour and a half. That way you can eat something when you have a little more time. So I give them suggestions. I don't talk about diet. Diet for me is a cage. Everybody wants to jump out because they only do it because the doctor told them, because they want to get in shape, but their lifestyle is not healthy. They just do it as obligation, not as a conviction. And that's what I tell people. I give you choices. I don't give you restrictions. So I give you a little bit of this and that so you can try it and improve your menu. And being able to be in Hawaii, to be in China, to be in anywhere in the world, and you will know how to choose what to eat.
Yes. Okay. So I want to ask you about intermittent fasting. So I've been fasting now for, maybe more than a decade. And for me, it's been, for my age, because I'm 57, I've just noticed that I'm handling the hormone changes better, that I'm handling the food, and also because I travel a lot for work, I find that just the intermittent fasting means that I'm more efficient as a human. So I fast from 8 o'clock at night until midday the following day. And I don't know, it works for me. So what's your theory, Alfredo, in and around intermittent fasting?
Yeah, well, actually, if we talk about how the body works and when people are born and then we start growing up, we are doing fasting all our lives, because when you go to bed and you wake up, how many hours are without food? 8, 12. So you're fasting. So you don't have any food in your body. So you're fasting right there.
Mm.
And the intermittent fasting can help you regulate, like you said, some of the hormones, your digestion, but not necessarily in all the cases, because in some people, they might have some contraindication. Maybe they have a hypoglycemia. Maybe they have some low tolerance because of their metabolism. Maybe someone who has like a little extra weight, they need to continue a reduced calorie amount, but in a consistent basis. So sometimes the intermittent fasting can be a little difficult because maybe the sugar levels or maybe the energy, and because if they don't sleep enough, they're gonna be dehydrated. So dehydration with less food for a long time, it can be a little bit tricky. So it has to be based on each person. I normally recommend it based on someone like, for example, yourself or maybe someone younger that maybe doesn't have any like a specific illness, some situation like high blood pressure or maybe pre-diabetes. So they can feel a bit different. And only for like a little test, I will tell people maybe do it once a week or do it, when you're off from work and see how you feel.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
then
So
from there,
I love it. I find that when I travel and we go on holidays, like it disturbs the balance of everything, because when we're on holidays, the hotel serves you food for breakfast. So just making different choices for the food as well when we travel. So I probably want to know a little bit more about how sleep impacts the whole process of this wellness for the mind and the body. So can you speak a little bit about sleep?
yeah, well, I recommend after I do the little interview and the evaluation of the posture, I tell people in the beginning, how many hours you sleep, how do you feel when you wake up, and what rituals do you do before you go to bed and when you wake up? Because those two times are pretty crucial, besides, praying, if you pray or anything. But since we're in the 21st century and technology and everything is being inundated all over the world, and people even younger, they're connected with this thing every day. And a lot of times work, when you're ready to go to bed, either you're exhausted because you didn't plan it or because you're a workaholic. And then you said, oh, I'm exhausted. I cannot take it. I'm just going to go and lay down. But what happens right there is your body is carrying tension. Even though you might have already a good posture, you're tense, either emotionally or posture, driving, standing, sitting, exercising, carrying kids or carrying a bag or anything. So your body needs to decompress in a way that you can release that lactic acid in the muscles and being able to enter into a deep sleep. Because remember, this is the body. The mind also could be running all over, even though your eyes are closed, your mind is like a computer, like a screensaver. So you need to decompress your body by doing some basic stretchings on the main parts of the body, lower back, your hips, your legs, so the blood flows easily. And then allocate about 10, 15 minutes before you put your head on the pillow so you can relax. Turn everything off, TV, phone, music, anything. Because what you want is a safe and quiet space for you to kind of enter slowly. I know sometimes you're rushing because you don't have enough time, but you need to make that time because it's crucial for you, for your health right here and then the body. So you do that before you go to bed, you relax, you go to the bathroom, and you're going to notice a little bit different. Maybe there is some, distortion on your sleep pattern, but that's a different thing. But with that particular ritual, it's going to help you to be more disciplined, to help you, not to show anybody else, but to you. And then when you wake up, trying to take at least a minute or two before you jump out of bed, so your blood start moving on your body, and you're not like a zombie waking up and trying to put the switch, even though you might know where it is, because your body is not quite alert. You're still kind of like waking up of the sleep, or maybe you couldn't sleep, but still, you want to have that moment where you put your mind and say, okay, I'm going to work. It's Monday, Saturday, what day? Because sometimes you wake up and you don't know what day it is. So you want to make sure you do that. So those two rituals are very helpful. So you can have a better sleep before you go to bed. And when you wake up, then you can feel more functional.
I love it. So sleep hygiene, so important for that connection of the mind and the body. I love it. Now, you've offered an amazing opportunity for our listeners today, Alfredo, for a 15-minute conversation. And so this link is going to be in the show notes and also in the description as well. And it's Alfredo's link tree. So you just look down there. Now, some of the words are in Spanish, so you'll just have to brush up on your Spanish. No, just look for the one that says 15, because that actually says 15 minutes, and press that, and you can book, no matter where you are in the world, you can book a 15-minute conversation with Alfredo, and he can just, help guide you in the right direction and see if one of his programs is the right fit for you. I love it. Thank you so much for that offer. It's really beautiful that you can share that. And we have been chatting for a fair while, and I reckon, Alfredo, we could just keep talking, but that's come to the end of our podcast today. So if you're listening and you'd like to pay it forward and make a difference for survivors of family and domestic violence, you can either be a practitioner and turn up and hold the space and help heal people in real life, or if you're looking to actually donate, we're obviously taking donations to help fund these global charity days. And also we're looking for people who are survivors to come along and receive that much needed pampering. And we have all sorts of fascinating things happening on that day. It's a beautiful experience. So reach out to us through Healing Through Love. We are Healing Through Love Australia, but now we're actually going global. And just as a final word, Alfredo, is there some words of wisdom you'd like to share with our listeners in closing?
Well, one of the things that I've been learning, and this phrase is very much profound, that says, no one is going to come to save you, so you better take care of yourself so you can be happy and live in fulfilled life.
I love it. Thank you so much. It is about taking personal responsibility for your own mind and for your own body. I love it. That's a goodbye from me from Healing Through Love, and a goodbye from Alfredo. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Healing Through Love. You can get further resources, see the show notes, or simply reach out to us via our website at htlaustralia.org. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to your company next time on the Healing Through Love podcast.